Today we're going to go through the process of creating buttons and other elements for website design using Photoshop. So here I've got a sample of what a finished product could look like. Of course there are a multitude of options that you can select that would make it look quite different. This is just one example that you could follow. So to create one from scratch, you would go up to File, New, and give your element a name. So that could be page 2 button. I would give it a small width and height so it fits neatly on the page. You can make the height maybe a little less. Let's try 70. You can keep the resolution and the other options, default options as is, and then click OK. Once you've done that, you can create a shape, which is a rectangle, so it fits neatly in the canvas. And I would just click it going from corner to corner, like so. Now once you create an object, you have an option to select from some styles. So I'm just going through some of the options here that you could use to create your button. Always remember that it's best to be consistent when creating website elements. So I'm going to stick with my beveled look here. You can see that the beveled look looks raised like a typical button, like on a keyboard. You can also have maybe a shadow effect that can also have a 3D look to it. Now once you create your shape, you can look on the right and you will see there's a number of items there that describe its characteristics. So if I double click bevel and emboss, I can change that to anything I want. So I can increase its depth, I can increase the size, and you can see in the preview how that changes the overall look. So I'm just going to cancel here because I'm happy with the original. In the gradient overlay, however, you do have some options for changing the colour. So I'm just going to click Colour Overlay, and the default is this awful red, so we're going to change that to another colour. So I'm just going to click Blend Mode, Linear Dodge, Add. That gives it a nice soft transition between a dark and a lighter shade of the same colour. Now once you've done that, I'm going to click on the Colour Overlay, click on the swab, and then you can basically scroll down this colour spectrum until you come to a colour that you feel would match your colour scheme on your website. So I've chosen this medium orange. I'm going to click OK. You can make that semi-transparent by reducing the opacity to say about 80. So here are some options that I'm doing that I hadn't done in my original that you could experiment with. Then I'm going to click OK. Okay, so here's my orange button. So you can see I've got the basic shape of the background, just a different colour. So then I'm going to add some text to this. So to do that, you would click on the T, which is the text tool on the toolbar, and I would probably change some of the options here. You can pick one of the options listed, and you've got a preview on the right for font. And then you would need to match that with a different font style or font size. So I'm just going to click in the center here and start typing. Now, as you can see, it's not aligned probably the best way. I like to use my arrow keys because it's more accurate, and you can see that it's moving the text down gradually, so you have a lot more control. Now once you're happy with that, you would just select off it or click off it. I'll just align my shape a little better on the canvas, and now you've got a button called page 2. Now what I'd like to now do is I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to save my button. Now if you choose to use Dreamweaver or one of the Adobe options to create your website, you can keep it in Photoshop format. Otherwise, you're best to change it to JPEG, just to be sure that it's consistent with the requirements.